your issues, your community, your life. It's time for Fox 23 News Tulsa Talks.
But up first, a very sensitive subject, hospice care. The Grace Hospice Foundation is a major resource in our community. It was born from a strong commitment to improve the community, and employees have an event coming up on November 18th. We're going to tell you all about it, and also we have a phone bank set up with volunteers. They are here throughout the show to answer your questions. There they are right there about hospice care. The number to call it is 388-3714. Again, 388-3714. Okay, joining me now, Carolyn McGay, thank you so much for being here. And Hugh Dawson, thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you.
Carolyn, let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about hospice. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people may not know that this resource is available.
That's right. The Grace Hospice Foundation is dedicated to educate about hospice and to let people know about the Medicare benefit. It is a free benefit provided by Medicare, and it's for everyone. You have it, I have it, we all have it. And we're able to use it if we find that we have a family member or ourselves, if we have a life-limiting illness and it's a serious illness where perhaps the prognosis is not so good. And then the hospice benefit is there for all of us, and it's wonderful. It helps the family as much as the patient.
So not really any restrictions as far as it goes. So pretty much everyone sitting out there at home, if they're going through this tough time, they can contact you guys.
Yes, and I want everybody to know that it's a free benefit. It's covered 100%. You know, you get your equipment provided for, you get your supplies provided for, the care, there's nursing care, physician care, home health aide, volunteers, chaplains, social workers. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's such a support to the family when they're going through a terrible time like that.
Right. And Mr. Dawson, when we're talking about family going through a tough time, this is kind of how you became involved, is it not?
Well, yes. My wife, I lost her about 5 years ago. And prior to her death, Grace Hospice provided the care for her. And of course, following her death, then I went through the grief process that they have. And then following that, went through the volunteer program, and since then I just had worked with Grace Hospice.
You know, why was it so important for you to become a volunteer? Did you want to just tell everyone about how great this organization is? I have to say personally for me, I did not know about hospice until I lost my grandfather about a year ago. And it was really an eye-opener for me that this resource was there in the community, and I guess a lot of times you may not know it's available until it's too late. Is that why you decided to get involved?
Well,
did you want to help other people?
Well, no, the reason already, Grace Hospice was so good to my wife. And of course I became acquainted with a lot of the people at Grace Hospice, and through the support group too, then I decided, well, maybe a little payback. So.
Very good. And we want others out there to pay back too, don't we?
Well, that's right. He's been wonderful.
Is there always a need for volunteers?
Yes.
And tell me what kind of time goes into being a volunteer. You know, a lot of people are out there like, I don't know if I want to commit because I may have to spend too many hours. What's it like for the volunteers?
Well, as you know, when you're a volunteer, you know, we're going to ask you to do things, but of course you're a volunteer, so you can do what you can.
Right.
But there's 2 days of training involved because it's important that you understand the hospice benefit and understand the different types of volunteering that you can do. But once you've gone through that training, which is really a lot of fun, I'm a volunteer as well. I've gone through the training myself, and I like to do it on my free time as well because it's such a good feeling, and you can see patients if if you're good at that, or you can work in the office, and we also have events, and you can volunteer at the events, and Hugh's just been awesome.
That's great. And when we were talking about the events, there's a big event that's coming up this Tuesday that's going to be outstanding. I see a lot of seminars on there. Let's talk about some of the things that people can expect when they come out on Tuesday, because we know they're coming out.
Well, yes, and as I've said, you know, the foundation wants to educate about hospice, and this is National Hospice Month, the month of November. So we're going to have a Hospice Forum that's going to be held at Life Senior Services North from 9 to 12 on Tuesday, November the 18th. And we're going to have a lot of fun out there, but there's also going to be a lot of education going on. We're going to have people out there from hospice to answer all kinds of questions. We'll probably have a few presentations on really important things. I know we're going to cover family dynamics, Death and dying, and also grief, and then there'll probably be a lot of other topics too. We're also going to do free blood pressure checks and glucose checks. So I want everybody to know that it's open to the community. We'd love to have you out there. Life Senior Services is going to do a presentation, and they're just wonderful. So they offer so many resources.
Well, we're not going to let you guys go. We have a lot more information to cover. We're going to check back with them at the bottom of the show. Thank you so much for coming in today. We want to give that information to you again. The Hospice Forum will be held Tuesday, November 18th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Life Senior Services North, as she just mentioned. The address, it is 902 East Pine. And again, several presentations from Grace Hospice dealing with grief and the family dynamics. And as she mentioned, the free blood pressure checks. For more information, just go to our website, fox23.com, and be sure you click on links and reminders. And don't forget, we are answering your questions about this very sensitive subject, hospice care. We have representatives standing by taking your calls. You see them there. The number to call, 388-3714. They will be here through the end of the show. And we have a lot more coming up on Tulsa Talks. Stay with us. And again, we are answering your questions about hospice care. We have representatives standing by taking your calls. The phone number to call, 388-3714. They will be here through the end of the show. We'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 23 News Tulsa Talks.
And throughout the show, we've been taking your phone calls about hospice care. And we have the members joining us now again from Grace Hospice. Thank you so much for being here. We didn't get a lot into how hospice started. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Hospice started a long time ago in London, actually, London, England, and it was started by an individual by the name of Cicely Saunders, and that was back in 1967, and hospice used to be a place. It was just a place. And it came back to the United States around 1974, and now, of course, hospice is portable. And you can have hospice at home, in a nursing home, assisted living, in a hospital, so many places.
Wow, it's outstanding. We talked about the location, it being at Life Senior Services North. You guys actually have there are actually several locations for this. Why did you choose that community, or is there a really reason why?
Well, I don't really think there's a specific reason why we chose that.
But just a great area?
Yeah, what we did is we just decided to partner with Life Senior Services, and that's where they have a wonderful facility, and it's beautiful. So we decided to do it there.
And Erin, you are actually a chaplain, so when a lot of people are going through this difficult time, how do you deal with that? How hard is that?
It's very difficult for some people, especially coming into the holiday season. Things are really going to be compounded for people that are grieving right now. Mm-hmm. And so as a chaplain and our psychosocial staff, we deal with each on an individual basis. Mm-hmm. We do have support groups that are ongoing and some specific to the holidays, but we try to meet people where they are, find out who they've lost and what their symptoms of grief are, and then go from there.
So the people that may be sitting out there at home that are going through this tough time, kind of hesitant about it, you encourage them to call you guys. Is that right?
Certainly do. It's not just for the folks that we have served, maybe having a loved one on service. Our support groups are open to anybody in the community.
Yeah. And when they come out to this event, they're going to find out a lot more about the services that you guys actually provide. And there's going to be some food, right? We're
going to have breakfast.
And I will be there ready.
Yes.
I'm actually proud to say I'm going to be one of the MCs for the event. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's great to let people know that this is available, this great resource is available in the community.
Yes, and they can ask questions about advance directives. There's a lot of things that involve hospice that aren't just about the illness.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, what are some of the questions that maybe you guys get most from people who come in and they don't necessarily know that the services are available?
Usually they'll ask something like, how do we know if our loved one would be eligible for hospice? And of course, we have nurses that will come out and assess. Assessments are absolutely free. And usually the biggest clue is if someone has a life-limiting illness and the physician has told them that, the prognosis really isn't too good. And we always call their physician first to talk to them before we come out because we wouldn't want to do anything.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So
Very
they can
good
feel
information. Again, we want to tell everybody, thank you guys so much for coming. November 18th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Thanks for joining us for Tulsa Talks. Have a great weekend.